Hope everyone had a great holiday season. Hope everyone's 2021 is getting off to a great start. I know right now we're in kind of the middle of winter here. It's where I'm at. It's pretty snowy and cold, but I'm hoping to heat things up with some frog talk today here on this episode of Co-Angler's Corner. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Co-Angler's Corner, brought to you by Frugal Muse Books. I'm Russell Wilson. Today on the show, we're basically going to be doing a spotlight bait segment on topwater frogs. I have some information plus I got some information from Ish Monroe seminar last year at the Madison Fishing Expo. I'd like to go over with you guys. I want to start off with some of the tackle. This is a technique that really requires some heavy artillery. We're talking 7-foot heavy action. We're talking at least 50-pound braid, because you're going to be running this frog over some of the heaviest cover, and you get a 5+ pound bass on. Even with that tackle, it's going to be a battle. But that's the type of tackle you're going to need to get these fish out. Ish Monroe suggested a 7.3 to 1 gear ratio bait casting reel. I've actually used a variety of gear ratios, but that's the one he suggests. But obviously, like I mentioned, this is not a light tackle technique by any stretch of the means. So kind of start off the frog he uses, and I've actually started using this frog too. It's called the Fat Matt Daddy by River Sea. I've actually gained a lot of confidence in this frog. It's a good quality frog. Obviously, River Sea makes quality products. Disclaimer: they are not a sponsor, obviously, but it's just something I've used and I find to be a quality product, and obviously have gained a lot of confidence in that frog. Especially that frog is actually the one that Ish Monroe used to win the Bassmaster Elite Series in lacrosse a few years back. So yeah, it's a good product. Just a few little things. First of all, the hooks. On not just the Fat Matt Daddies, but all of these frogs, all these hollow body frogs, they have the hooks are, here's the body of the frog. The hooks come up like this, and they're kind of either pointed straight across or pointed in. I see why they do that to help it make it even more weedless, but I have missed a lot of bites on those frogs, and on those hollow body frogs. One thing that I do, and a lot of people do, you just take a pair of pliers, take it, and just bend that hook ever so slightly. Now, be careful when you do that, though. Be kind of gentle with it, because I have actually had hooks break on me when I've torqued on it just a little bit too much. But you just want it at least to the point where if you take your finger and run it across the frog and you get to the hook point, you want to feel that hook point. The way they come from the factory, and all these frogs do this. The way they come from the factory, they're, like I said before, they're either straight across or bent down, and you're not going to feel that hook point. Like I said, ever so slightly bent up so you can feel that hook point. It helps penetrate when bass bites. So it's just one more thing that's going to give you an advantage when you're using these frogs. Now, one thing that Ish mentioned was something, and I've actually still got to experiment with this. yet. I haven't had the opportunity to. But actually putting some weight in the back of the frog. So you still want to make sure that it floats. That's the number one thing. If it sinks, it's done. You got to get that weight out of there. Or if it's tore up so bad that water seeps in all the time and it keeps sinking, and you got to keep smushing it to get it out. If that happens constantly, I mean that frog is done, unfortunately. And but you gotta keep you gotta make sure those frogs float. But his point about putting a weight in it is that it makes just a little bit more impression in the water. Like I said, I'm going to be experimenting with that before we get into really frog season, the warmer parts here, to figure out how much weight I can put in there without it sinking. Now, another thing that actually I've been doing for a while that he actually emphasizes is actually trimming the skirts on those legs, because they've got on the back of those frogs, they've got these rubber skirts. They're very similar. Their strands very similar to like either spinnerbait or jig strands, and they're usually pretty long. They're usually like that. He says to Ishmael says to cut them by either half or 3/4 of an inch. I've actually been kind of eyeballing it. Me personally, I do try to keep one leg just a little bit longer than the other, because it helps when you're in open water. Because one of the things you can do with these frogs in open water is get them to walk. Get them to walk like this, very similar to I forget what they're like the topwater spooks, where you can just kind of get them to wobble along like that, and you can get these frogs to work back and forth like that in open water. So that's one of the things I personally like to do. Rattles, actually, those Fat Matt Daddies have actually rattles that are actually attached to the hook. I'm still deciding whether I wanted to take those off or not, because in the past, before I started using the Fat Matt Daddies, I've always liked to take like a little jig rattle. They're like usually about yay long. They're made of glass and they got little beads in them for obviously to make the noise. I've always liked to put those right into the frog, and he doesn't like putting those in. So I mean, there's a few things I'm still learning about. A few things I'm experimenting with these frogs. Now, here's the next topic that's kind of hard, can be a little hard, and that's the hook set. Trouble is, when you see those on any topwater bait, when you see that fish blow up on the thing, all you want to do is just instantly jerk. And in heavy cover, in the situations where you're going to be generally fishing these frogs in, you don't want to do that. You'll just pull right away, and they'll never get it. One thing I like to do is, after I see that, or try to do anyway, again, I'm not perfect. The excitement of that top water strike is just instantly exhilarating. But what I try to do, when I see it, I reel down, and then I would say a 3 count. If I'm feeling weight, then I give it everything I've got, because you gotta give it all you got and reel, get those fish out of there. Usually, most baits, I'm just keep it a certain keep her out at a certain rod bend and a certain angle, so the hook doesn't come out. But with these frogfish, you got to rip them out of there. Don't, especially you got a big one on there. You do not want to waste time at all getting these fish out. Even I understand wanting to play them out, but on most baits, but do not waste time with these frogfish. You get that once you get that hook set, then you like I said you want to keep going, get them in. Do not give them a chance to get any more wrapped in weeds than you have to. Get them in, give them in. Just get them in. That's all I have to say about that. Is just get them in. Like I said, you do not want to waste time with these frogfish, because you get it's. I feel like these frogs they fish seem to have a way to know how to get them out of their mouths, and that's another thing too. I know a lot of the hooks are really good out of the package nowadays, especially with your best baits. I still sharpen my hooks before I start tournament day. When I'm tying on, and this ain't just frog fishing, any of my baits. When I'm during the week, Wednesday, Thursday night, when I'm made my bait decision, my starting bait decisions, tie them on. I'm sharpening those hooks, making sure they're ready to go on tournament morning. Make sure they're super sharp, because obviously you gotta penetrate these bass's mouth. Get those hooks to hold while you're fighting fish through that slop and junk. It's that's definitely very important. So and here and when you're setting your hook too, don't do the side hook sets on these. Do straight up. From 11 to 1 o'clock, just straight up, and make sure that, like I said before, give it all you got when you're setting the hook on these fish and getting them in. Obviously, like anywhere else, if you can find a spot that's not been heavily pressured, that's going to be an advantage to you. That's most definitely going to be an advantage to you. Obviously. As far as colors go, it can vary. I know the main colors up in La Crosse are generally usually black or white. But some advice Ish Murrow gave as far as colors go, dark colors early in the morning and on dark days, and or excuse me, dark colors in the morning. I use black quite a bit. On darker days, like a white, green bluegill pattern, white in the afternoon, midday, or if you're on clear water. Let's see what else here. And one thing too, beyond color, softness. I know some of the guys take these baits, including the Fat Maydays, and actually boil them quickly in water just to make that skin extra soft. I personally haven't tried that yet, but the softness I think it just feels more real to the fish, and it maybe it compresses more when the fish bite down on it, so you can get that hook more in their mouth. I don't know. So that's really the information that I wanted to go over with you on frogs today. I know some of you guys are out on the ice right now. I know here in Wisconsin the ice has been building. I am not sure what's that. I personally don't ice fish. I'm not a fan of the cold. But that's exciting for you guys. I don't know if the Madison Fishing Expo is going to happen this year due to COVID. I'll be talking about more on that on the next episode that we record here. So I wish all of you good luck on the season here, and have a great day. Bye.